We often talk about getting a good night's sleep as if it's a universal, timeless concept. A solid, uninterrupted 8-hour block of unconsciousness. It's ingrained in our culture, a benchmark for health and productivity. We chase it, we yearn for it, and when we don't achieve it, we feel like we've failed. But what if this modern ideal, this singular block of slumber, is actually a relatively new invention? What if, for the vast majority of human history, our ancestors slept in a way that would seem utterly alien to us today, a pattern that might even make our current sleep struggles understandable? Prepare to have your fundamental understanding of sleep challenged, because the truth is, humans slept very differently for thousands of years. Imagine a world where waking up in the dead of night wasn't a frustrating interruption, but a cherished, even productive part of your routine. Picture a time when the darkness wasn't something to be feared or fought, but embraced as an opportunity for quiet reflection, connection, or gentle labor. For millennia, before the relentless hum of industry and the glow of artificial light reshaped our nights, humanity embraced a sleep pattern that modern science is only just beginning to rediscover. What if the widespread insomnia, the anxiety over nocturnal awakenings, and our constant battle for an elusive 8-hour stretch are not signs of a broken biology, but rather symptoms of fighting against an ancient, deeply embedded rhythm? We're going to explore a forgotten way of resting, known as segmented sleep, and uncover how this profound shift in human behavior came to be. Before the advent of widespread artificial illumination, the night was a truly different beast. It was a canvas of profound darkness, punctuated only by the moon and stars, and perhaps the flicker of a hearth fire. This wasn't just a darker world, it was a quieter, slower world, where the boundaries between day and night were much more fluid, and human activity adapted accordingly. Historical records, from ancient texts to medieval literature, offer tantalizing glimpses into this forgotten era. They speak of a first sleep and a second sleep, revealing a pattern that was not only common but expected. People would retire to bed shortly after dusk, drift into what was called their first sleep, and then, sometime around midnight, they would naturally awaken. This wasn't a struggle. It was a natural pause, a period of conscious wakefulness lasting an hour or two before they would ease back into their second sleep until dawn. This wasn't an anomaly. It was the norm. It was how families lived, how communities functioned, and how individuals experienced the deep, restorative cycle of rest. The stage was set by the very rhythm of the planet, by the sun's rise and fall, and the profound, enveloping darkness of the pre-industrial night. This ancient practice, so rich in its implications for our modern lives, slowly but surely faded into obscurity, replaced by a new clock-driven paradigm. But how did we lose this innate connection to our nocturnal selves, and what did we sacrifice in the process? The answers lie in a journey through history, technology, and the very fabric of human society. The historical evidence for segmented sleep is far more robust than many might imagine. Literary references abound, particularly from medieval Europe, where phrases like first sleep and second sleep were commonplace, woven into the very fabric of daily language. Geoffrey Chaucer, in the Canterbury Tales, explicitly mentions characters going to bed for their first sleep, only to wake later. Court records from 16th century England describe criminal acts occurring between the first sleep and the second sleep, indicating this waking period was a widely understood and accepted part of the night. Even medical texts from ancient Rome hint at similar patterns, advising patients on how to manage their nocturnal awakenings. This wasn't merely a quaint custom, it was a deeply ingrained aspect of human existence for millennia. During this nocturnal interlude, the waking period between the first and second sleep, people didn't just lie there in restless boredom. It was a time of quiet yet purposeful activity. With the house dark and the world outside hushed, it was often used for prayer and contemplation, a spiritual communion facilitated by the profound stillness of the night. Others might tend to the fire, read by the faint glow of a lamp, or engage in quiet chores that didn't disturb others. It was also a prime time for social interaction. Neighbors might visit each other, sharing stories or simply enjoying companionship in the subdued hours. Crucially, this was a period often dedicated to intimacy. With the day's labours done, and children typically in their own beds or deeply asleep, the waking interlude provided a private, unhurried space for couples to connect, both emotionally and physically. Far from being a struggle, this peaceful, productive wakefulness was a cherished aspect of the night, a period of calm reflection and connection that our modern uninterrupted sleep schedule largely denies us. Biologically, this pattern makes perfect sense when we consider the natural world. Before the pervasive glow of artificial light, human existence was dictated by the sun's rhythm. As dusk fell, the pineal gland in our brains would begin secreting melatonin, the hormone that induces sleep. After several hours of first sleep, melatonin levels would naturally dip, leading to a period of wakefulness. As the pre-dawn hours approached, melatonin would rise again, ushering in the second sleep until the sun's return. This biphasic pattern was perfectly aligned with the natural light cycles, a testament to our innate biological wiring shaped over countless generations. We were, quite literally, designed to sleep this way. The profound shift, the erasure of this ancient sleep pattern, began with the dawn of artificial illumination. The invention of gas lamps in the late 18th century, followed by electric lights in the 19th, fundamentally altered humanity's relationship with the night. Suddenly, darkness was no longer an insurmountable barrier to activity. The day could be extended, and with it, the opportunities for work and leisure. This technological leap coincided with the Industrial Revolution, a period that demanded unprecedented standardization and efficiency. Factories needed workers to operate machinery for long, continuous shifts. The concept of time is money took on a new, urgent meaning. The irregular, segmented sleep pattern, with its natural breaks and fluid schedule, became an inconvenience. An inefficiency in a world increasingly driven by the clock. The mechanical clock, once a luxury, became ubiquitous, its precise ticking dictating every aspect of life. Work shifts started and ended at exact times, school bells rang, and even social engagements became rigidly scheduled. The clock became the ultimate arbiter, imposing an artificial rhythm on human existence that gradually overshadowed our natural biological one. The societal pressure to consolidate sleep into one long, uninterrupted block grew immense. Waking in the middle of the night, once natural and accepted, slowly began to be viewed as a problem, a sign of restlessness or even illness. The emerging medical community, influenced by the industrial age's demand for efficiency, eventually embraced monophasic sleep as the norm, pathologizing nocturnal awakenings as insomnia and prescribing remedies to force the body into this new, unnatural rhythm. The clock had not only conquered the day, it had colonized the night, fundamentally reshaping how we rest. This profound historical shift, from segmented to monophasic sleep, casts a revealing light on many of our modern sleep struggles. Insomnia, a pervasive affliction in contemporary society, is often characterized by the very problem our ancestors embraced: waking up in the middle of the night. We lie there, minds racing, filled with anxiety, convinced something is wrong because we're not sleeping through an uninterrupted 8-hour block. This anxiety itself can be a major barrier to falling back asleep, fueling a vicious cycle. We've been taught to believe that any nocturnal awakening is a failure, a deviation from the ideal, leading to a reliance on sleep aids and an endless quest for that elusive perfect night. Could it be that our bodies are still, at a fundamental biological level, wired for segmented sleep? After all, 3,000 years of cultural conditioning is a mere blink in the vast timeline of human evolution. Our discomfort with waking at night might not be a physiological flaw, but rather a clash between our innate circadian rhythms and the rigid expectations imposed by industrial-era schedules. The constant pursuit of an ideal 8 hours, often leading to feelings of sleep debt and inadequacy, might stem from trying to force a square peg into a round hole. We're fighting against a pattern that was once natural and even beneficial, pathologizing a biological inclination. Yet, amidst the modern clamor for continuous sleep, whispers of segmented patterns persist and even re-emerge. There are contemporary examples and movements exploring biphasic, or even polyphasic sleep, patterns involving multiple short sleep periods throughout the day. Napping, once seen as a luxury or a sign of laziness, is increasingly recognized for its cognitive and restorative benefits, with companies even incorporating nap pods into their workplaces. Research continues to uncover the flexibility of human sleep, demonstrating its remarkable adaptability to various schedules and environments. Some individuals, particularly those engaged in creative or meditative practices, experiment with intentional waking, setting an alarm after their first sleep cycle to engage in a period of focused work, contemplation, or mindfulness before returning to bed for their second sleep. This deliberate interlude can be a powerful tool for unlocking creativity, processing thoughts, or simply enjoying a quiet, reflective moment in the stillness of the night. It highlights that human sleep, far from being a monolithic block, can be a dynamic and multifaceted experience. Ultimately, while the return to a widespread segmented sleep pattern might not be practical for everyone in our 24/7 globalized world, understanding its history offers an invaluable perspective. It encourages us to question the assumptions we hold about sleep and to reconsider our own sleep patterns and expectations. Perhaps our ancestors, living in a world less dominated by artificial light and the relentless clock, possessed a profound wisdom about rest that we have largely forgotten. Their night was not just a void of unconsciousness, but a space for reflection, connection, and even productivity. This historical journey compels us to ask, is our modern monophasic sleep regimen truly optimal for human well-being, or is it merely a functional adaptation to an industrial age that prioritized efficiency over natural rhythms? The answer might lie not in forcing ourselves into a rigid, singular pattern, but in listening more closely to our bodies, understanding our history, and perhaps reclaiming a little bit of the night for ourselves, just as our ancestors did for millennia. How does this knowledge change your perception of a good night's sleep? It's a question worth pondering as the world outside continues